sound text on the parade.
I've just turned the heating on, it's
I was roasting a few weeks ago.
a beautiful day then.
Yeah, it's been nice, isn't it?
Who done the flowers on the steps?
That'll be Andrea.
Yeah, they look very nice.
They do, don't they?
Yes, very well done.
She around? I'll let her know. You said that. Thanks, Brian. Hi guys. How are you? How are you? Okay. This is your little daughter. Ellie was with what? Your Mia. That's it. So, okay, so it's a radio.
Hi there.
Nice.
Yeah. That's not a square.
Manic today to only get here.
How was your birthday?
Sense of cherishing. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Can't stay till. Girls playing the game. Not all of them. Oh, is it? Harry Bednar could be one of those. Oh, the one with the she might end up giving us the rest. Dancing on the ladder. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. So, tonight, well, we've got 2 weeks, this week and next week, and the week after that, you know where you're going to be, right? 3rd of April at St. George's Hall with our General Spiritual Director, Genla Kelsang Dekyong. So she's an amazing teacher, very powerful teacher, and your life will never be the same after that. So, yeah. But tonight we're going to talk about 2 things, moral discipline and concentration. We've been talking in the past about things like karma and the nature of suffering, how we experience suffering essentially on a daily basis. Anybody not had any problems today, this week, last week? Is there any, do we ever have a day when we haven't got any problems, difficulties? This is our underlying condition. And we can go through our whole life just not finding the satisfaction and the peace that we long for. And part of the reason is that we carry within our own mind the seeds of our experience of suffering. Because we have delusions, we have things like anger, we have things like jealousy, uncontrolled desire. If I don't get what I want, I'm going to pull the house down. Yeah. Do you ever feel like this? Yeah. So, and all this is leading us to engage in negative actions. And you've heard about karma, how if we engage in negative actions, we experience bad results, more suffering. So we come to realize that our suffering is never going to stop until we clean up our mind. Until we stop, we hold ourselves back from committing any more hurtful, negative actions. Yeah. No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, divisive speech, hurtful speech, idle chatter, no minds of malice and has hurtful intentions, no covetousness, and no deliberately holding views that are obstructions to finding real peace. So we have to be careful about how we go about our life, how we go about our business. Just always watching, never to cause hurt or harm to any other living being. And then concentration. Concentration enables us to place our mind on a virtuous object. The word virtue means that which is the cause of happiness. So there are many, many different virtuous thoughts that we can have. And so, for example, the mind of love. Mind of love is simply a wish for others to be happy. So if we place our mind on that thought, I really want other people to be happy. Not just a few people, but everybody. There's a beautiful verse, third verse in the prayers for meditation that goes, "May everyone be happy." What a beautiful thought. May everyone be free from misery. In other words, free from suffering. May no one ever be separated from their happiness. Not just in this lifetime, but may they experience real happiness in all their future lives. May everyone be free from hatred and attachment. So we're wishing other people to become completely pure themselves, so they can experience pure happiness themselves. So, if we were to focus our mind on that thought, those thoughts, then they become more familiar to us, and they arise, therefore, more frequently in our daily life. How often do we have that thought? May everyone be happy. Once a year. But if we had it every day, our mind would be just becoming beautiful. And interesting, there's one aspect of our mind which is really cool, which we can only have one major thought at a time. So if we're thinking, I want everyone to be happy, we're not thinking, I want you to fall under a bus, So these virtuous minds, these virtuous thoughts crowd out these hurtful, negative thoughts that are the cause of our suffering. So by changing the focus of our mind and to be able to concentrate and focus on virtuous thoughts and virtuous intentions, then we're creating the cause of our own happiness and peace. And it's that simple. It's that simple. So we'll begin with liberating prayer, then I'm going to read some stuff from this extraordinary text, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So this is the essential teachings of the Mahayana tradition. So we'll do liberating prayer, then we'll do a meditation, then we speak some more about this.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind. and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you. May all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dhamma flourish forevermore.
And so we can meditate. So in meditation, it's good to have a good posture. Try to have a straight back. Try to have your feet flat on the floor. You can place the back of your right hand in the palm of your left, like this, and raise the thumbs so the tips of your thumbs touch gently together. And relax your hands into your lap. And you can gently close your eyes and close your mouth. So you breathe just very naturally through the nostrils. For a few moments, just watch the rhythm of your own breathing. And we can do the meditation that's called black and white breathing. We begin by imagining that all our negative thoughts and feelings that disturb our feelings of peace, that disturb our mind, all of these little pieces of negative mental energy, they all turn into black smoke. Difficult memories, feelings of loss and disappointment, feelings of irritation and anger and jealousy, feelings of anxiety about what might happen in the future. All of these little pieces of negative mental energy, they have no function but to disturb our peace of mind. And so imagine that they all transform into black smoke. And this smoke gathers inside your body at the level of your heart. So imagine you're seeing all this black smoke in a small cloud. And you see it and you think, this is everything that's destroying my feelings of peace and happiness. And so you desperately want to be free. So every time you breathe out, breathe away some of this black smoke. as it leaves your body, it just vanishes into space. So every time you breathe out, breathe away some of the black smoke. And you realize that eventually all that smoke will disappear from your body. And as you breathe in, imagine you're breathing in white light. Imagine all those who have gone before you over the last 2,500 years, who have followed the same teachings and instructions. And they too became awakened ones, Buddhas. And so they imagine they're all around you, wishing for you to find your own way to peace and happiness. And so they pour down their blessings for you, their good wishes for you, in the form of white light. So every time you breathe in some of this white light. And you find it fills your mind and body with positive energy. Fills your mind with inspiring thoughts and confidence. So just sit in meditation, breathing away the black smoke as you breathe out, breathing in this white healing light as you breathe in. And just carry on like this, breathing out black smoke, breathing in white light. And now just take another 4 breaths to breathe away the last of any remaining black smoke. And fill your whole mind and body with this beautiful white light, the blessings of all holy beings. And now just feel that you're completely free from all that negativity. Your mind is just filled with inspiration and confidence and positive energy. And so you can carry on like this. So now you can begin to arise from meditation. You can bring your mind back to the room and become aware of your surroundings. So, well, moral discipline and concentration and wisdom are known as the 3 higher trainings. They're just training our mind in these 3 things. And the purpose of this is to take us out of suffering. They're called higher trainings because they're motivated by the mind of renunciation. I want to free myself from suffering. I don't want to stay in this state continuously, experience problems after problems, life after life. I want to get free. I want to completely purify my mind. And so that it begins with the practice of moral discipline, which is like holding ourselves back from causing any hurt or harm to any other living being. You can do this, right? You just make a decision. I'm never going to use my speech, my body, my mind to cause hurt to any other living being. Not just human beings either, but animals, insects, birds, fish, and so on. So we just make a decision. This is how I'm going to live the rest of my life. And so having made the decision, what do? We go about our business and we kind of forget. I made this promise, but now I've forgotten this promise. And so we find ourselves one day just letting loose, and all hell breaks out. What we've forgotten really is the effects of our own negative actions, A, upon ourselves, and B, upon other people. We've forgotten that when we engage in negative actions, we create the cause for more problems and suffering. Yeah. If we could remember that, then we have a strong incentive just to keep holding ourselves back. Yeah, so if we remain mindful, there's 2 aspects of enabling us to clean up our act, and one is mindfulness, which means we remember what we've already learned, that there's a relationship between our own actions and our own experiences. And the other thing is alertness, the ability of our mind to realize what we're actually thinking about. So, for example, if you're planning to push someone down a well or under a bus, and the mind of alertness says, hey, you're about to engage in negative actions. So that gives you an opportunity just to hold yourself back. If you have there's a third mind, it's called conscientiousness. Yeah, conscientiousness enables us to know the difference between hurtful actions, negative actions, and beneficial actions, or non-virtue and virtue. Virtue just means that which is the cause of happiness. Non-virtue is the cause of suffering. So conscientiousness knows the difference between these two, and it's able to decide, oh, this is a negative action you're about to commit, you need to stop. And because we have conscientiousness, because we've already chosen to only engage in virtuous actions, you say, okay, yeah, you're right. So alertness, you remember what you're supposed to be doing, the commitments and promises you made to yourself and to other people. And as you're going about your business, you're remembering what you've done. And then there's a mind of alertness that's always watching. What are you about to do? You know? And if we find that we're about to engage in negative actions, then because we have conscientiousness, we decide, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And so these three minds are operating together. And then it's just holding ourselves back from causing hurt or harm to any other person. And in the process, we're avoiding creating the cause of our future suffering. You know, what goes around comes around. No? Never heard this before. It's called karma. You know, we've heard that word karma. Okay. So we know that when we're going to engage in negative actions. And so there's another two aspects of the practice of moral discipline. One is engaging with Buddha's teachings. It's the moral discipline of collecting virtuous dharmas. So taking opportunities whenever we can just to listen to teachings, to read Dharma texts, so we can constantly improve our mind. Yeah? This is what these teachings are all about. How we can improve our mind, so we stop causing problems and difficulties for others and therefore ourselves, and abide in a state, enabling us to abide in a state of peace and happiness and joy forever, forever. And you think, well, how would that be possible? It is possible because all we have to do is remove the causes of suffering from our own mind. The causes of our suffering we hold within our own mind. It's not other people. It's not the external environment. It's not the government that's the problem. It's our own mind that's the problem. I'm not saying that you're going to stop getting sick. You're going to stop getting old. That's going to happen. But what will happen is we begin to stop seeing these things as causes of suffering. Yeah, we begin to stop experiencing these things as causes of suffering, because the real cause of suffering are the delusions that we have in our mind. Get rid of the delusions and you become free. That's the purpose of moral discipline, to enable us to get rid of all the anger, all the jealousy, all the uncontrolled desire and so on from our mind. Wouldn't that be great? We need one more thing, is to be able to imagine ourselves as being living in a state of great peace and contentment. Yeah. Never experiencing any problems or difficulties. So someone who comes to irritate you, humiliate you, speak badly to you, or speak badly about you, how do you respond? You just wish them to be happy. Yeah. And you smile, say thank you. Someone's telling you you're a horrible person, and you say, yes, you're right. I always thought that. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I'll change. It gives me an opportunity to change. You know, if someone's saying and criticizing you have either they're right, in which case you've got an opportunity to become better, to remove that problem from your own mind, or they're wrong, in which case you don't have to worry about it. So if someone's criticizing you, you can thank them. Thanks. Yes. And it's completely different because normally, because we're so focused on ourselves, we just have such a grand opinion of ourselves and we take ourselves so seriously. If someone's criticizing us, we just want to punch them in the face. Is it just me then? So, yeah. So we need to think that all of Buddha's teachings are intended to enable us to improve our mind. First by practicing pure moral discipline, and then by developing a mind of love and compassion and wisdom. So the third part of moral discipline is moral discipline of restraint, moral discipline of gathering virtuous dharmas, and there's the moral discipline of actively benefiting others, looking for opportunities on a daily basis to bring help and peace to other people. Yeah? Karma works also on beneficial actions. We engage in bringing benefit to other people, and we create the cause to experience happiness and joy ourselves. And so that's the way in which we can create happiness for ourselves, is by creating happiness for other people. And not wishing for them to fall down a well. So this text is by a great 8th century scholar called Shantideva, means the God of peace. And he gave this 10 days teaching that became known as the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Bodhisattva is someone seeking enlightenment in order to be able to bring happiness and peace to other people. So it's a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. And in that, one of the things he says is that, and I love this quote, I've said it many times, all the happiness in the world, which includes all of your happiness, comes from a mind that wishes others to be happy. So all your happiness doesn't come from having ice cream or chocolate or nice movies or nice friends or whatever, nice home, etc., etc., nice vacations. All your happiness comes from your mind that wishes others to be happy. It's that simple. Yeah. But how often are we wishing others to be happy? Most of the time, we're just wishing ourselves to be happy. And all our mental activities essentially focused upon ourselves, trying to rearrange conditions and people around us so we find happiness. And so, for example, when we meet a complete stranger, what are we thinking normally? How are they going to affect me? Are they going to make me feel good? Or are they going to make me feel bad? Is that how we think? I don't know. But what we're doing when we're asking ourselves this question, we're not concerned with how they feel. We're only concerned with how we feel as a result of the interactions that we have with this complete stranger. And what we need to be able to do is turn it around and come to think, how can I make you happy? How can I make you feel good? How can I make you free of your problems? Yeah? That is the cause of our happiness. And in essence, we meet countless people every day. You go to the grocery store and you bump into people all the time. You know? Instead of thinking, stop bumping into me. Just wish them to be happy. And you come to the checkout to pay for your groceries. And are we really thinking about the happiness of the checkout person? We can be thinking, it's an opportunity that we have. This is a living being standing in front of us. We just have the thought, I just want you to be happy. You don't have to throw your arms around their neck and whisper in their ear. You just need to have that thought. And that thought will have an impact. You know, they say that 60% of all communication is non-verbal. So we have that thought and it's communicated with our body. And they experience it, although they may not realize it at the time. But just by, if you smile, and you just find a few words of encouragement and recognition, and then you leave. But in those moments, you've had that mind of love. You've been practicing that beautiful mind of love. And so you're creating peace and happiness for someone else, but also, importantly, for yourself. So that's what we want to be able to concentrate on. Often when we try and meditate, we sit down and we want to place our mind in single-pointed concentration on a virtuous object. But we find our mind starts going all over the place. Wonder what's on television tonight. How did Liverpool play last week? Or who are they playing this week? Etc., etc. There are all kinds of thoughts about the external world. And so we're not actually meditating. What we need to do is to gain control over our mind and place it on its virtuous object, like the mind of love. Because meditation functions to make our mind more familiar with the causes of happiness, more familiar with virtuous thoughts. So as we become more familiar with virtuous thoughts, they will arise more frequently. Yeah? And so you find yourself without effort, just wishing other people to be happy, for example. But there's many, many other virtuous minds that we can develop. Minds of compassion, minds of bodhicitta, minds of wisdom. And so we need to be able to develop more control over our mind, so it's not jumping around all over the place. Interestingly enough, the practice of moral discipline, as our moral discipline improves, as we turn away from non-virtuous actions and turn towards virtuous actions, then actually these many distractions will just disappear, because we become less interested in the outside world and how it affects us. And we become more interested in what's inside our own mind. So we become less interested in the external world, and so we're less distracted by it. And then in practicing concentration, all these subtle distractions will just disappear as well. And we find gradually that our ability to hold our mind on the virtuous object just improves and increases. And as a result, we become more familiar with the practice of virtue, and our mind is just improving and improving day by day. And so, of course, we need a daily meditation practice. And I would encourage you, if you don't meditate already, I would encourage you to do that. If you're relatively new to meditation, just 15 minutes a day. And you come to enjoy it so much, you want to do more. And after a month or so, you'll find yourself, I can't do this because I got to go and meditate. And you're choosing to engage in training your mind in the causes of happiness and peace. So, let me just read some of the things from here. The chapter in here on moral discipline is called Guarding the Mind with Alertness. Even those who wish to find happiness and avoid suffering will wander without meaning or purpose if they do not practice training the mind, the supreme and principal Dharma. So here he's talking about gathering virtuous dharmas. Therefore I will guard my mind well and protect it from what is inappropriate. Without the discipline of guarding the mind, what is the use of many other disciplines? So we can be very skilled at many different things, but if we don't stop creating the cause of our own suffering, what's the point of being expert in all these other things? Without the discipline of guarding the mind, what is the use of many other disciplines? Just as I would be careful of a wound when in a jostling and unruly crowd, so should I always guard the wound of my mind when among those who might provoke delusions. So sometimes, our friends can provoke delusions with us. Yeah? You should do this, or you should do that. And you give up that meditation, that nonsense stuff. Yeah. And it's okay to get angry. You got to express your feelings. The thing about anger is that we train our mind to avoid anger arising. It's not that we suppress angry feelings, we just stop them arising. because they're replaced. The potential to be angry is replaced by a mind that wishes others to be happy. Mind of love and compassion. Compassion for others particularly, because if someone is hurting you, why are they doing that? They're doing it out of their own delusion of anger. And you know, when we have anger in our mind, it's painful. We're the ones who are suffering. And so, when someone is hurting you, they're suffering too. So it's appropriate to have compassion for them, for their suffering in that moment. So should I always guard the wound of my mind when among those who might provoke delusions? If I always practice in this way, then whenever I am among harmful beings or with people I find attractive, neither my steadfastness nor my vows will decline. So often we take vows to practice pure moral discipline. I can accept losing my wealth and reputation, or even my livelihood, or my body. And I can even accept my other virtues degenerate. But I can never allow my practice of guarding the mind to decline. I beseech those who wish to guard their minds, always put effort into guarding both mindfulness and alertness. So that's what we need to remind ourselves. Remind ourselves of how any negative thoughts that we have will lead naturally to negative actions of body, speech or mind. And so if we can remove these negative thoughts from our mind and replace them with positive thoughts, then it will be easy to maintain pure moral discipline. And pure moral discipline will just end up with a pure mind. And it's like an extraordinary gift you give to yourself, having a pure mind. That this pure mind is the source of all happiness and peace, and can create the cause to become a great being, like my teacher Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, like all the Buddhas who have gone before, who are actively operating to benefit other living beings all the time. So imagine if you had a life that was completely devoted to the happiness of other people. I'm not saying you have to go and sit on a meditation cushion the rest of your life, but you can do whatever job you have and just devote the way you engage with that job to the happiness of other people. And so even your job becomes a spiritual practice. And so every moment of your life, you realize it becomes a potential for you to become a better person. How cool would that be? So let's finish with a meditation. Because we all want to be free of suffering. And because we come to understand that the causes of our suffering are within our own mind. And in particular, the delusions that we have within our mind. Delusions of uncontrolled desire, of anger, of jealousy, of self-cherishing. thinking, I'm the most important. And there are times when these delusions can become manifest in our mind. And then they cause us to engage in hurtful actions. So if we're not aware of what the delusions that we have in our mind, whenever they arise, we need to remain mindful of how these acting upon these delusions will cause us more suffering. And we need the mind of alertness as well to enable us to realize when these delusions are functioning, when anger is arising, when uncontrolled desires are arising. Because if we follow them, if we just allow them to persist, we will end up creating the cause of more suffering. And so we simply make a determination. Whatever else I do in this life, I will strive to practice pure moral discipline, in particular with the minds of mindfulness and alertness. I will strive also to read and contemplate and meditate on Buddha's teachings, pure instructions that will enable me to become a better person, experience more joy and happiness, and be able to give that joy and happiness to others. And I will practice the moral discipline of seeking to bring benefit to other people wherever I can. So if we make that commitment to ourselves, it's as if we're giving ourselves an extraordinary gift of future happiness. So just make this commitment to yourself. I will practice pure moral discipline, always avoiding causing harm to other people, always seeking to engage with Buddha's teachings, and always seeking to bring benefit to other living beings. This is what I will do for the rest of my life. for the last 2 minutes, make a firm decision to yourself. This is what I will do. Whatever else I do for the rest of my life, I will strive to practice pure moral discipline. In this way I will become a better person. So now you can begin to relax your concentration, and when you're ready you can arise from meditation. So when we banish, when we get rid of these delusions, gradually we need to identify them within our own mind, because they're there even if we don't realize it. They're just, like vampires away hidden way down, but when we shine a light on them, they can't survive. So once we identify them, then they begin to disappear. And when we become completely free of all these delusions, it's like we become a pure being, pure person. How cool is that? So, I'm suspecting that you've already done all this anyway. I'm just preaching to the choir here. So, but only you can know. So next week we'll talk about wisdom, very special wisdom that you only find in Buddhist teachings, and a wisdom that just cuts through all the delusions and the roots of delusions. We can identify them, we can apply the antidotes to these delusions. For example, antidote to anger is mind of love and compassion. The antidote to uncontrolled desires, begin to see the faults in the things we desire, and so on. And so gradually we can first identify, then reduce temporarily, but then wisdom will just cut through them, so they're just finished permanently. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anybody like tea or coffee? Biscuits or whatever?